New video, and in this video I'm going to show you my redesign process, website redesign process. Alright, so let's move on. Okay, so before talking about anything else, I want you to understand the most important thing, and the thing is that there is not a single process for website redesign. Okay, so it's not if you ask from myself, even from me, that what's my process, I'm gonna tell you this, and for another day if you ask me what's your redesign process again, then I'm gonna tell you something different. Even if you ask from another designer, they will do the same thing, because there is not a single process. It's all depend. Okay, so you may ask what it's all thing are depends on. Okay, so this whole process is depend on two things. One is complexity, and second one is budget. Okay, so these two factors are very important on the which depend the process of a website redesign. Okay, so uh, I'm going to show you a real world example where I will uh, take an example of a real world project, and for the sake of context, what I'm going to do is tell you the complexity and the budget of that project. Okay, so recently I just on 13 November Saturday, I just got a client from Upwork, and the client wanted me to redesign his website, whole website. So here is the website which he wanted me to redesign. Okay, so let me show you the whole full website. uh, then we will talk about we will move forward. So if you will look on the whole website, you will find that it's looking quite bland and old design. So lots of colors are popping up, and lots of extra white space without any reason. So the layout was looking quite boring. So my task was to redesign this whole interface into a completely new one. Okay, and in terms of complexity, the website complexity was low, because I have to only redesign the visuals of this website. I'm not taking the decision regarding the conversions of the website and other things, for example copywriting, these whole things. I have to only redesign the visuals of the website, current website. So this was my task. So in terms of complexity, it was low, and in terms of budget, it was also low. Okay, so you can think of like this whole video, or this whole process, my current process which I'm going to tell you in this video, is completely is depend on the low complexity as well as low budget website redesign process. You can understand this video like this: low complexity as well low budget website. How to redesign a low budget and low complexity website. Okay, so understand this scenario, whole scenario. Okay, so let's move further, and let me show you the my process for this kind of project. Okay, so here it is, my process. First I collect inspiration and ask for feedback from the client. Then I design a rough wireframe with the real world content, and then I turned the whole thing into a high fidelity mockup. Okay, so let's start with the first one: collect inspiration and ask for feedback. So uh, in this case, I didn't know this. The whole thing which you are seeing on your screen right now was completely done by the client. Even though it's my process, but the client was already aware about it. I'm not sure the whole thing was done by the client, or he maybe managed to hire some else, any other designer who did this whole thing. But This is actually what I also what I do from my side whenever I meet with a new client. So what you have to do in this case is you have to collect lots of inspiration. Don't be choosy about at that time. Just put whatever you like and show to the client and ask for what you like about it and what you don't like about it. But in this case there was lots of um, screenshots was there, and I'm not suggest you to ask for a feedback on lots of these visuals, different visuals, because maybe client get frustrated very easily after seeing lots of things. But just for sake of example, I'm showing you this is what you have to do. For example, as you can see, here's a screenshot of this design, and client has put their feedback on every single image. You can see here it is generally I like the lines and the dots here as elements. The same thing he did for the basically the whole thing was divided into different categories. One was for elements, one was for use of colors, one was for iconography, use of gradients. So I will not suggest you to create different kinds of category for these things. Only three category was enough. Let me show you what I'm talking about. For example, when collecting inspiration, try to put in three categories. One is composition and graphic, one is image, and one is motion. Motion is not necessary for now, so let's delete it. Um, for starting, just collect inspiration for the two categories. In composition and graphic, try to put everything which is in terms of visual. For example, here you can see the font is looking quite simple and geometric based, and the color, the layout, just like they did in the element use of color and iconography. So this whole thing you have to put in a this category, composition graphic category. And for the images category, you have to put the images which going to use on the website. So here you can see there's already lots of images, and client has given the feedback we don't want images that are too homogeneous. So that's pretty much it for this process. And one more thing I want to say that never skip this process. I've seen most of designer who are in hurry of designing high fidelity design, and who make lots of mistakes in this step, because this is in if you talk about the problem, this is the 80% of that problem. If you do the homework and do this whole process, it depend it really, there is a high chance that you are gonna design the high fidelity also very easily. And if you skip this process and do hurry, then you have to pay for that thing. So I will suggest you don't skip this process at all. Okay, so this was our first step: collect inspiration and ask for feedback. Okay, so let's move on to second step, which is rough wireframe with the real world content. So once you ask for the feedback from the client about their what kind of visuals they like and they don't like, it's time to design a rough wireframe and with the content in it. So you can imagine how the content is gonna lay out on the whole website. Okay, so since it's a redesign process, so it's pretty much likely that client has already the layout as well as content. For example, in my case, there was already a wireframe of the website. Here you can see with the but the reason there was no content in it. It was just an wireframe. So I took the content from the original website. Here is the original content. So everything was here. So this step is not complex. And one more thing I want to tell you, that the client has already the style guide, so I did not think too much about the font as well as color, because client has already created their logo. Here is blackthorn logo, and there is font as well as there is here this is the color. So in terms of color and font, I did not thought too much about it. Okay, so finally it's time to move on the last step, which is turning the design into high fidelity mockup. Okay, so as I already told you, once you will do the homework, which is collecting the references, lots of references, and ask for the client feedback, you are gonna finish this step very easily. So let me show you the final design which I had created. Here is the final design, and here is a small version. So client like this design, and in the first time he did not give even a single change for this design. You can see it's the whole design which I created, and it took me around for the both screen it took me around 6 hours to create the whole design. And if you ask me how did created this kind of layout, and how I come up with this kind of font style. So actually, there's not a single step. I just experimented with the lots of things. For example, let me show you. I have taken some examples here. For example, here it is. I've used different kinds of screenshot. Here is the screenshot, and with this screenshot, with this layout, I tried to copy the same thing here, but none of them work actually. Then in the end, I had created my own version, and this is the layout which I had come up with. And if you notice the design closely, you can see the all things I've used, little detail things I've used from the client feedback. For example, look at this light background and this dot, and in the feedback, let me show you. Here it is. Here's another version of of dots I like. So client was liking the dots. Here's the dots. So I use the same thing here. Lots of dots. And then if you look here, the soft color is good enough example. So he liked the soft color also. So what I did is use the soft color here. This is simple. So as I already told you, if you do the homework and collect this inspiration very sincerely, you're gonna create that high fidelity design very easily. Here you can see I like the gradient in the circles. He liked the gradient and icon on it. So I did the same thing. I use the gradient circle and put the icon on it. So there's no brainer here. You just translate the client likes and don't likes into a design, high fidelity design. So I hope you learned something from this video. Give a thumbs up if you like it, and let me know in the comment what else you want to know about web design. See you in the next video.